Cheaters are ruining my game and ruining the experience for everyone playing. Not only do they cheat their way to infinite gold and max level, but imagine spending hours working towards the best gear in the game only to be one-shot by a level 1 cheater. And when today's cheaters are armed with machine guns, tanks and nuclear missiles, what kind of tools and weapons do we developers actually have to fight back? And if you're ever thinking of making a game, please learn from my mistakes. To begin with, my game was this cozy little single-player experience where cheaters could only ruin their own experience. So who cared? All you had to care about was where to place your flowers to make your island as pretty as possible. So it was all fun and games until I got this amazing idea. Hey, what if I add multiplayer? Now this opened the floodgates. People now had a whole new motivation to cheat and newfound ways to destroy the experience for others. With PvP, cheaters could easily one-shot everyone, and with clans, cheaters could instantly get the best rewards that usually take a ton of work for people to unlock. Now cheating became a real problem. And before releasing my game, I knew absolutely nothing about cheating and what people were capable of. And oh boy was I about to find out.
This is fine.
The first way I discovered people were cheating in my game was simply through time manipulation. Want to finish your crops instantly? Just change your device clock and my game would think 10 minutes had passed. Since I clearly can't trust your device clock, I had to change every piece of code that used timers to use what is called a server time instead. So when you start the game, it first contacts my server to get the actual time, since this will always be correct and cheaters can't change it. But this caused another problem. You see, the server time might be in a completely different time zone. So midnight for the server might still be 8 hours away for you. And why is this a problem? Well, for things like the daily login streak, here you should be able to pick up and receive a single reward every single day. So that means that you should be able to get a reward 5 minutes before midnight and a new reward 5 minutes after midnight. And all this means that sometimes I need to use your device clock, even though I can't actually trust it. And the way I solved this was actually to look at both your local device time and the server time and calculate the difference. If the difference is greater than 24 hours, which is impossible given the time zones, I know you have tampered with the clock. Also, if I see this difference changes a lot, I know something fishy is happening. The next cheat I discovered people were using in my game is also one of the most common ways people cheat. All you had to do was locate the game's save file, and if the developer, like me, didn't think much of it, the file would be stored in plain text with all the info of your game right there. And then you can simply change this one line to give yourself 1,000,000 gold. Now, at first I tried making it a bit harder by, instead of storing the save file in an easy to read format, I stored it in something like a binary format, which looks like this. But the problem is that people can still find out which of these numbers are their in-game gold. If you have 3015 gold, you just have to find this specific number and change it. Easy as that. So to add another layer of security here, I started encrypting the data. Now the text turns into this impossible to understand gibberish. It's basically like locking the data behind a secret code that only our game can understand. Now this isn't completely bulletproof either, since there are tools out there that can bypass encryption. But you know what? If someone's willing to go through all that trouble, maybe they've earned that extra bit of gold. But this was the time when I actually started to do some more research about cheating, and I quickly learned that in most games, botting is extremely common and the most efficient way to have your game ruined. Botting is using automated scripts to play the game for you, collect resources, fight battles and so on. And a bot can grind for hours and hours and then simply give away all the gold and resources they have collected to other accounts. In World of Warcraft, for example, some flowers used in alchemy can be very hard to get, thus worth a lot of gold. But when thousands of bots can go around farming these flowers all day, the flowers lose all their value and the in-game economy is completely ruined. Luckily, I avoided all of this. The developers of the popular mobile game Heyday said that the single biggest mistake mistake they did in developing their game was adding the roadside shop. This is where you can sell your bread and flowers to other players for whatever gold amount you want. And this single feature introduced trading between players and a living in-game economy, which gives some players huge incentives to cheat or make bots for your game. And as a solo developer, it can sometimes be a good idea not to let people trade resources between themselves, and it's a sure way to avoid tons of headaches further down the road. But if you're making a game and still want trading between players, be careful to put in proper detection of bots or carefully control your economy. For example, in later updates of Heyday, they even added an upper and lower price limit on the things you were selling to avoid bots selling things for 1 gold. And just when I thought I was covered against most cheaters, I discovered the next level. Have you ever heard of a cheat engine? It's one of the most common tools for cheating in games and extremely hard for us developers to deal with. When you start up a game, it will usually take all the different values from your save file and store them in memory, so you can actually see your gold value in the game. And a cheat engine can simply scan through this memory, finding the most important values while the game is running. So if you're low on gold, you simply type in the amount you have and the engine will find the correct memory location for the gold and let you change it freely. Now, some games like Clash of Clans store all the values on the server instead of on the device, which is a very efficient way to prevent cheating, but it's also an extremely challenging thing to implement. But for games like mine that don't have this luxury, what can we actually do to detect memory editing? Well, let's say I have a single variable here that represents your gold. Now, what I do is I actually added a second variable as well. That is the sum of the most important values in the game. So gold, war fragments, and some other things. And whenever you actually earn 100 more gold in the game, my code will always add 100 to your gold and 100 to this other variable. And now if I at some point see that the sum of these variables does not match with this one, I know gold has been added by something else than my code. Again, this can be bypassed if the cheaters are careful to add 100 to both variables, but most won't really think that far before I'm able to detect them. But after dealing with that, I now found out that the cheaters had another trick up their sleeve, and this was the equivalent of cheaters bringing tanks to what should be a friendly paintball match. Have you ever seen an ad for like a god mode version of a game on some shady website? This is one of the hardest cheats for us developers to deal with. That's a modded APK, a hacked version of the game where cheaters using it gain extra powers. So hackers basically reverse engineer the game, going through all my code and adding buttons that access hidden functions like gaining gold or instantly dealing 1 billion damage. And I have absolutely no way of knowing if a player is using one of these hacked versions. And by the way, if you are playing on a hacked version, you're also opening yourself up to all sorts of risks. Malware, data theft, and so on. It's often not worth the extra free gold you get. Remember that hackers often want to make these hacked versions for other reasons than just letting you have fun. Now, there are basically 2 ways I tried to deal with this. First one is to naturally let my piece of shit chaotic spaghetti code confuse the hackers as much as possible. The second way is with ban waves. Ban waves are an excellent way to get rid of cheaters. By using player statistics like gold earned, I can quickly see if someone has way too much gold compared to how long they have played or how many things they've done in the game. So why don't I just ban these people right away? Well, this is the beauty of doing a ban wave instead. Ban waves are all about waiting and banning everyone at once instead of banning people one by one. By waiting, the cheaters will think they've got away with it, even though I know this is a cheater. If I had banned them right away, I would basically teach the cheaters exactly what causes them to get detected and banned. If they see that adding 1 million gold to their account will get them banned, they can simply start adding 100,000 gold 10 times instead. And with ban waves, I completely remove their ability to learn from their mistakes. So I'll show you one of the ways I actually detect these cheaters before a ban wave. So one of the main ways people earn gold is basically by delivering these orders. So you collect a few resources and deliver the resources for gold. So if we go through a small piece of my cheat detection text-detection code right here, I'm basically looking for how much gold they have earned versus how many orders they have actually completed. So if I execute this, I get a complete list of people that have earned way more gold than they should have based on how many orders they have actually completed. For example, this person, the muscle bro right here, has earned about 359,000 times more gold than he should based on the orders he have actually completed. So this is basically a cheater, right? So my code basically looks for different outliers based on different statistics, and then at the end it gives me a list of all the cheaters it actually found, so I can take it and ban all of them. And just now, after I executed all of my cheat detection code, I found 115 cheaters I was able to remove from my game right away. Now, as you see, being a solo developer means that these kinds of cheats isn't something we can get rid of completely. We just have to try to detect as many as we can. And even AAA companies with billions of dollars at their disposal aren't truly able to avoid these cheaters. So at the end, dealing with cheaters becomes this never-ending battle where I keep trying to use different methods to detect them while they constantly change the ways they do things to avoid being detected. But in this never-ending fight, another big way to quickly catch cheaters is simply by using your own community. Letting the players report each other is an amazing way to let people flag other players for doing suspicious activities that I haven't detected yet. But one has to be careful here as well, since we can't blindly trust player reports. If I implemented a fixed rule that says if a player gets 20 reports, we automatically ban them, then a clan of 25 people could easily be able to work together to ban anyone they wanted from the top 50 charts to boost their own positions on the leaderboards. So even if I did implement the possibility to report each other, I would still need a solid and scalable way to investigate a person before I ban them. A way that doesn't require me having to spend half an hour looking through their stats to determine if they have cheated or not. So I know many games select a few moderators that they can trust that helps them detect the different cheaters. So that is definitely something I could look into as well. But being able to report other players in the game instead of having to message me on Discord is still a much better solution than what we have today. And it should definitely be a priority in upcoming features. So now I hope you've learned a bit more about cheating and the different things we game developers have to deal with. But before I leave you, I also have some extremely exciting news to share with you. As some of you know, for a while now I've been working on a completely new game for all of you. I've been prototyping different ideas and concepts for a brand new RPG, and I would love to start sharing progress updates to get your feedback and ideas on what you would like to see in the game. So please subscribe if you would want to see what's next, and if you're even interested in testing out super early prototypes and concepts of the next game, you can sign up for that here. And remember, if you sign up for this in PixelTribe, you will also get some additional rewards for it. But remember not to sign up on both places, since you can only get the reward once. Anyways, stay tuned and I'll see you all next time, and have an amazing day.